Great day.
Hello, hello.
Happy Money Making Monday.
Another money making Monday. Quintaria, what's up?
I know, right,
We
friend?
missed you last Monday.
But I saw you hold it down though. Like
Uh,
I said, oh, I'm gonna have to prove my worth because Mercedes got this. I'm gonna have to be like, look, I add value. Like Mercedes, keep me on, Mercedes.
awesome. Good to see
So
you. Happy money making Monday,
happy
guys.
Money Making Mondays to you, Mercedes. I appreciate you so much, and we're going to get into our routine conversations and all that, but I just have to take a moment to remind our tribe and even ourselves the importance of partnership and collaboration, because sometimes life just be lifing, like
Yeah.
my mom wasn't doing well. I was filming and I just had like so many things going, but one monkey did not stop the show. So I appreciate you, and I just want to continue to be an advocate and as best I can, a facilitator of partnering and working with others, because we need that.
Absolutely. And
And
listen, we got you. We was here to hold it down. So
yeah, y'all
I'm
did. Y'all
sorry
did.
that you do. So what
Well,
you got?
who are you? Who are you? I'm
Like
giving all these accolades too.
That's all right. Hey guys, if this is your first time tuning in to Money Making Mondays, my name is Mercedes Coates. I am the CEO of Coatesway Financial, which is a financial services company. We focus on living life insurance. We focus on creating simple, strong financial plans that will work for your personal lives and your businesses. I met Quintaria years ago. We started to work together, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself. So I'll
The
let
rest has been history.
you.
My name is Quintaria Brunson. I am the owner of a strategic solutions firm called the Brunson Approach, where we specialize in providing exit strategies to business owners. If those strategies include real estate, life insurance, or long term planning, purchasing businesses, mergers and acquisitions, government contracting, we are certified to help business owners scale and create scalable, sellable businesses. I love what I do. I love Money Making Mondays, where we speak specifically, or at least more along the lines of these specific types of strategies. But it's so many ways to win out here. So many ways to win. And I am super duper excited to jump in.
Okay.
I'm gonna kick this today's topic off with a quote, like we always do, or we at least try to do.
Mm-hmm.
And today's quote is: "Stay focused, go after your dreams, and keep moving towards your goals." And that's from LL Cool J.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
stay focused.
that's
And
so
with
true.
this being the second quarter, or we're entering the second quarter, we're entering the second half of the year. So this is Q2, and we're like, we got
Ready.
today's May 20th. So we literally have 10 days to wrap the first half of the year out. So I would love to discuss accomplishments, where our wins, places we're struggling in, so that we can discuss some real solutions or highlight some real solutions on how we win and how we move forward as we wrap up, as we enter into the second half of 2024.
Yeah. I mean, so many things have happened over the last, 2 quarters, and I know we decided on this topic, so I was kind of excited about it, but at the same time, like, oh, let me look at these numbers and see what's going on here, right?
Make you reflect, right?
Yes. So, I kind of want to share some of my wins, and, kind of based on the way I set goals is a little bit different, I guess, than maybe most people, because I'm very hard on myself. So my goals are not so much quantitative goals. It's more so the energy and focus. So let me talk about the mindset for a second. So one thing that I learned from who's this guy? Grant Cardone.
Pardon. Yes, that's my homie right there.
Right. And a lot of times we see where we want to go. He talks about 10x rule, right? He talks about, setting your goals super, super high. But one thing that is so key that he always talks about that I hone in on is your effort, having the right expectation on the effort you have to put in to get to that goal. I think
Mhm.
people set goals, but they don't think about the effort. So he talks about estimating that effort. So one thing that I did is when I set my goals for the year, Quintaria, I looked at, well, what effort do I need to be able to put in? And one of
Mm.
the biggest goals that I achieved, and one of the goals that I set was to be able to quit my 9 to 5. My 9 to 5
I'm
allow
trying not to jump. I'm trying not to jump up and start doing cartwheels, but
yes.
I've just seen Mercedes on this journey, and I'm super proud. It
Oh,
reminds me of when I jumped off the cliff, and I know what you have to consider when you do that.
yeah.
So I'm gonna let you get back to your story, but these smiles is just like pride, like being
Oh, I
proud. Yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
that. And so many people have had that for me. And I really, really love the people that I'm surrounded by. You guys are like so amazing. So with my story, I have been working a 9 to 5 for a very long time, but I've also been doing my business. I am very blessed to be in an industry that is super, super flexible, that allowed me to continue to build my business while I was still working my 9 to 5. So one of my goals was to let go of that because of the time, not because it
Mhm.
was a hindrance in my business, because I was still very successful, but I knew that I needed to change up the time that I was putting into somebody else's business and put more of that time into my business. So one thing that I was able to do was quit that 9 to 5 at the very beginning of April. And I share that to say a lot of people, Quintaria, it's so funny. A lot of people didn't even know I work. They're
Yeah,
like, "What, you work?" I was like, "Yeah, I work." They're
yeah.
like, "When?" I'm like, I work." Right?
Because you're like the poster child
I was like
for
Tommy,
Coachway Financial.
right? Like Tommy. Nobody knew I had a job.
Yeah.
Like, I had a
Like
job all
what?
this time. But one of those things that I did was I was able to quit that job and put more time into different areas. So a couple things that I was focused on was building relationships, finding partners to work with. And I have really been cultivating those really since last year, but
Mhm.
really honing in on it January, February, March. And what I'm seeing, what I started to see in April and May is people working directly with me and partner up, and we were able to have multiple events. We were able to put multiple people in position to purchase a home, to build business credit, to retire tax free. So we've been able to help so many people. And so what I would say is I'm actually on track with my goals.
Good.
I have hit my numbers as to how many people I wanted to work with. Working with you in your series has been amazing. And that's still going. We got so
Yeah.
much to do. But I would say, as far as like my efforts, like my main goal was putting the effort in the right place and estimating that so that I can achieve those goals that I put down
And
quantitatively.
one thing that first, thank you for sharing. Uh,
No problem.
and I, as a strategist, I consult a lot, right?
Mhm.
And one thing that I have to remind business owners and even myself at times is don't underestimate how much you can do over the long game.
Mhm.
Like so many times we overestimate what we can do in an hour, but we underestimate what can be done in a decade. So
Mhm.
proper planning, being flexible. But well, heck, I'm a strategist, so I'm always gonna lean towards a plan. But
Yeah.
I've literally seen Mercedes work through her plan, being thoughtful and all of that, so that she could be in position when the time was right to be like, like, hey, it's been real, but
Yeah.
I'm on to the next, you know. And that is why many people struggle. And not that I know everyone's goal is not to be an entrepreneur. I'm not. And the beauty about what we do and what we discuss is your goals can be whatever your goals are. And we still have plans that we can put in place for you to win, right?
Yeah.
But for those who are considering or back and forth or have a business or flirting with entrepreneurship, one of the key reasons why some people struggle or feel as though they're not as successful
Mhm.
is because of the lack of proper planning. like I always say, we
Mhm.
got to CEO this thing.
Yeah.
And Mercedes, like you really are doing that. We have to think a few quarters out. We have to think a few years out and then reverse engineer what are the daily activities that it will take for me to get to where I want to be, because we can do it. Most of us have the resources, or the resources that we need are not far off, but the problems occur when we just when we don't track. So
Yeah.
getting to mine, I have my goals right in front of me. My quarter one, I was much more on point than quarter two. And it's several reasons, but I am determined for quarters 3 and 4 for this second half of the year and right now we're still in quarter two, like we have through the end of May before it shifts to the next quarter. So I'm determined to do the best that I can to close out some of these goals that are sitting right in front of my face. If y'all see me look up, I'm looking at my, like, I put my goals like in my face, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And one thing I'm noticing too, here's the caveat, because especially for the month of May, I've been filming, I've been traveling, I've been on the go. So for like 4 weeks, I haven't really been working at my desk as much. So I haven't looked at my goals as much too. And I just wonder how that kind of correlates as well
Mhm.
too.
Mhm.
But going back to my statement, proper planning and reflecting and really looking at the numbers. I don't know if y'all peeped this, but I did. One of the first things Mercedes said was when she thought about the topic we would be discussing, she looked at the numbers.
Mhm.
Like, and that is in real life showing how you're CEO in this thing. And we've got to look at the numbers, to look at what's happening in the industry, to be, honest and candid with ourselves, to
Mhm.
praise and love on ourselves when we
Yep.
do amazing things. Because
Mhm.
although I didn't hit everything that's on there just yet. Like the quarter ain't over. However, there are
Yeah.
some spaces that I didn't account for that I've done amazing at. That it's like, wow, this is a new, phenomenon, and we're kind of winning here, or I'm seeing traction here. But we've got to be professional. Even if you're not a business owner, you still need to manage your life in such a way that you are CEOing it. But it is giving me new insights on what my firm does, and what I, as a community leader and a fight, what I do well. Because for me, it's more about pruning things that I'm okay with, that I could just refer out, and me floating and staying in my superpower, because my
Mhm.
superpower is what brings me the most revenue, period. So
Mhm.
so that has been very helpful for me. And just to know, like, yo, June is around the corner, like, and I will not allow this year to complete without, hitting the goals that I've set for myself. So, we're on the second leg of the race of the year of 2024. And
Mhm.
I'm excited. I'm motivated, even with life having its obstacles, I'm still on track. But I do have a little catch up to do for quarter two. But I'm excited and ready for it.
Awesome. I love that. I mean, everything you said was great. I guess I know people listen. So let me say this. There are a lot of people that I've been talking to recently. They stop me sometimes and they say, Mercedes, this is really good information. And they say, how did you figure out what you needed to do? And
Mm.
so a lot of people ask me that, and I never consider myself a coach. Sometimes people may call me a coach, but I just teach from experience, basically.
Well, that's
So
kind of coaching, but
I know. I feel like coaching is so overrated because
I don't
everybody
consider
calls
myself a coach, but I coach. Doesn't really
some
matter what you
people call
consider
me
yourself.
coach. Like when people like, I'm a coach this. So many people are like coaches. I like block them on like Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
too much, right? So,
And I
but
think that's a part of our personality, because I'm not tripping off of what you call me necessarily. I
okay,
know that people need to understand what I do, so I'm thoughtful
yeah,
in what, like, the titles that I use. But you can put me
yeah.
down for whatever, as long as we are achieving goals.
I got you. So one thing I kind of wanted to point out, and I think it's one of those things that I wanted to share what people ask me all the time, and I think maybe people want to know. So people always say, "Well, how did you get to that point?" And sometimes I'll take them through like my experience, like how did I start saving more money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I may take them through how I did that. And I'm doing my appointment, and most of my appointments are remote. They're writing, they're taking notes. And by the time I'm finished, like talking to them, they're like, oh my goodness, I'm going to start here and I'm going to do this. And they start to share with me like their goals and things like
I'm
that.
hearing ebooks and workshops and like,
I
yo,
know I'm probably missing something that I
no,
couldn't
you
tell
are.
you.
Yeah.
Look, you like, we're going to talk about
Yeah.
that.
Oh, I'm so glad you know me.
But people really do find that, understanding how to get to that point, I think that that's the key. And this is where you have to talk to professionals, guys. This is where you have to say, you
Mm-hmm.
know what, if I am going to do something, well, again, what estimate the effort. But the
Yeah.
first effort is you have to put yourself in position to learn about it, to
Yeah.
maybe contact someone who is a professional in that industry or in that space who can educate you, and then
Yes.
start to work towards putting a plan in place, to get to where you need to go, right? So
Yes.
go
And
ahead.
I'm because you're touching on just yesterday, a client of mine, she's been a client for years and she's participated. She was at the town hall that I did in Baltimore City recently.
Okay.
And there we had a lady that I had brought because she's phenomenal with trust and setting up trust.
Okay.
So they had a meeting and the lady calls me yesterday and she was like, Quintaria, okay, I got to circle back to you. She was like, um, one, I want to say, because of the conversations with you, a lot of things that concepts you were talking about, when I heard them again, I was like, oh, she said light bulbs started going off and it started making more sense. So I bring that up because it's a journey. And,
Mhm.
you have to, going back to what you were speaking to before, sometimes you need to start, but you do need to be thoughtful, like consider what you want your outcome to be, and know that along the way, as you sit down with professionals, as you set up your first IUL, as you write your first business plan, you will start to understand and master these concepts. The more
Mhm.
you're around them, the more you're familiar with them. So that particular client was, she wanted to clarity on setting up a trust. How does that impact like some of the work that we've done? And I was like, no, a trust is just the house, and what
Mhm.
I provide is like the furniture and the appliances that go in the house, right?
Yes.
And she was like, okay, that helps me so much. She was like, it's amazing that 2 or 3 years ago I knew nothing about this. And I just want to say that it's okay if you're like, I'm hearing all this stuff floating around. Like
Mhm.
Mercedes was just saying, it's coaches everywhere, right? Even people like Mercedes, hold on, wrong way, like Mercedes, that that is coaching and like, oh no, honey, I'm not a coach, but blowing the whistle while she's saying it, right? But it's so much information that's floating around, and our desires are, like naturally, who doesn't have goals? Who doesn't want, even whether we say it or not, who doesn't want more for themselves, for their family, and
Mhm.
at most, like I'm sure it's, if it's not unanimous, it's pretty close to it, right?
Mhm.
But don't be afraid to have the initial consultations. Don't be afraid to find someone that you're safe with so that you can have the vulnerable conversations, because there are people who profit off of your ignorance. There are
Mhm.
people who profit
True.
off of you allowing your pride to keep you, paying more in taxes than what you need to not have your family fully protected, so that if someone were to pass away, like not only is there a grief aspect, but all hell breaks loose financially. People are
Mhm.
winning on your ignorance. And what I hope Money Making Mondays does, in addition to providing information, providing strategy, is to
Mhm.
build relationship so that you have professionals that you can trust or you can learn to trust so that you
Yeah.
can have some of these conversations that we need to have. But I just want to close this segment out by saying you don't have to know it all. If you feel if because I'm amazed at how many comments we get. Sometimes when we're making these recordings or we're live like how we are today, it's like it's just Mercedes and I talking to ourselves. But when I go places, when I'm
Yeah.
speaking at places, people are like, "Oh my gosh, what you're doing is phenomenal." And
Yeah.
it's like, well, why ain't you, like it should be a little more, well, I am excited for the time when people will go beyond just seeing and saying that's good information, and they will put these good concepts input it so that their families can win and so that they can win. We're on here doing Money Making Monday so we all can.
Yeah.
Mercedes and I could just call each other on the, we know where each other live. Like we like we could just talk to each other in other ways, but we're making it public, and we made this commitment about 2 years ago now,
Yes.
to
Yes.
continue to be committed to our communities, to be
Yeah.
committed to our tribe, because these winning solutions, these winning strategies are not just for our families. Now, our families, we're going to set our people up, right? But
Yeah.
it's for you too, and it can be for you. So start where you are. Like Mercedes said, book a consultation to
Mm-hmm.
find out what your options are, or just to learn more. A consultation is free, and
Mm-hmm.
then commit to making the latter better than whatever was going on before.
Right. Make sure, I put a quote out on my Instagram if you follow me at Coastway Financial, that says 10 years from now, make sure that you can say that you chose the life you wanted to live and
Mm,
that you didn't settle for it. Right?
mm,
You don't have to settle. You
you
can
don't.
create the life you want to live.
You
You don't have to
can.
settle. Don't
A
let
life
nobody
by
tell you
design.
it's a life by design.
A
You do
life by
not have to
design.
just take action, write it down. First, put the thoughts on paper, write it down first, see it, then start to believe it. Right? You got to
Yeah,
have that belief. That belief starts in you. I can't give you that. I can motivate you all day, but you have to be inspired, and
yeah.
inspiration makes you move.
And
Right?
my vision board part, I used to host so many vision board parties. I need to get
Mhm.
back to it. I feel
I
like
went
I
to
could
your
have,
vision board
I know.
party.
I thank
I
you,
had never
right?
did
Yeah.
a vision board, and that was one of the reasons why I fell in love with who you are, because of the
Aw.
vision board. I knew you from the class
Mm-hmm.
that I taught, but when the vision board party came, I got to know who you were a little bit. I got
Yeah.
to know what type of visions you had. I got a chance to figure out what visions I had, because I didn't even
Yeah.
know the visions, right? But
We
that is so
might need to
important.
do that for our little cluster. Maybe we do a baddies vision board
Yeah,
something,
it's been a while
because
too, so that would be good.
thank you.
Mhm.
And I think when you said, well, how did you get started? How do you know the next steps? And it's because I was writing them down,
Mm,
putting them on vision boards, and they're all around, well, you've been to my house. I have
mhm,
statements and goals all throughout, but it's reminders and it's written out so that,
mhm.
but you've got to know what you want so the universe can guide you to it so that you can get there. God um is ready to bless us, but we got to kind of give some direction too, like, oh, I want more money. Like, well, here's $25, like
And
if you
sometimes you
want
get
to
what you
be a
ask for,
millionaire,
and
thank
you don't know
you.
how to handle it.
Thank
So
you.
that's
Thank
the
you.
key too.
Yeah. So it's a lot of moving parts, but like
Yeah.
you said, we need to be inspired. We need to have some level of understanding of what we want, because that's how you assess where you need support.
Yep.
Nothing is, just being honest, it's a little frustrating sometimes to talk to people, and every other question, I don't know. I hadn't thought about it. What do you do in your spare
Right,
time?
it's so common, Quintaria. It's very
Yeah.
frustrating, to be honest. And some people of very high prestige when you talk to them about these things, sometimes they say the same thing, and it's really upsetting, guys. We have got to change. That is not a place that we need to be. And,
Thank
I'm
you.
glad that you said that, because it's real. Like, a lot of us on the outside, it looks like we got our ish together, but a lot of us, they ain't got it together. And
Thank you. It's
it's
stinking like a Mickey
okay,
feed. Yeah.
but we have to work towards actually being good and not just looking good.
And
And
that's what I was
that's
just in our community. We've got to move away from the looking good when we really are not good.
mm-hmm.
Like we need to be good. And
Yeah.
then and from the inside, because of that,
Yeah.
like it will flow beyond that. Well,
Mm-hmm.
any last do you have a pointer or two that you'd like to leave our community with on goals and preparing for the second half? What do we have? Assess, adjust, and achieve your 2024 goals is our topic for today.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing that I would like for you guys to take away from it is, don't just set the goals, but think about the estimated effort that it's going to take for you to achieve it. What do
Mm-hmm.
you have to do to get there? What sacrifices do you have to make? What schedules do you need to put in place? Who needs to pick up the kids? Who needs to cook the dinner? All of the little tangible things, the moving parts, the variables, whatever the case is, think about the estimated effort it's going to take for you to get to where you say you want to go.
Yeah. And to add to that, I'll say if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. So I am a calendar girl. Like I schedule everything. But when I think of the years before I got to that point, you know, and the level of success that I have now because things are scheduled and they are planned. Mercedes, when you're scheduling things and putting things on your calendar or putting things on your budget, when you're plotting and graphing those things, it forces you to consider, to
Yeah.
make considerations, short-term considerations, long-term considerations. I was just I won an opportunity to go to a conference in June, and I had to make some considerations. I had to look at my calendar and think about some things and adjust and but all of those skill sets are what allows me to have great short and long term goals. So that's what I'll say, that just as a one step, if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. And
Mm-hmm.
that shameless plug leads to, if you do not have an appointment booked with Mercedes or myself, it doesn't exist. You can think you want to increase your wealth. You can believe that you want your future generations to live better than you. You can say you want, a carefree retirement. But if you have not booked a consultation to review what you currently have to make sure it's still in line and applicable, to put something in place if you don't have anything, if you have not put that on your calendar, if you haven't scheduled that, then it doesn't exist. And we
Yep.
want you to win. Yeah, just like we want
So
our
click
own
the
families
link.
to win.
Click the
Yep.
link in the bio. We want to hear from you guys.
Click
No
the
more
link.
just listening. Let's talk
Thank you, right?
conversation. So listen, today I'm gonna watch the numbers. We'll see. Hopefully we
Yeah.
have 3 new appointments, 3 new
Okay.
consultations with people today. And I'm gonna give away a couple things. So
All right.
we got
You should have started with that. You got
today.
to start with the
I
giveaway.
have a book that I want to give to you that I read about 8 years ago that literally changed my life when it talked about financial planning. So I'm going to provide that to the first 3 consultations that we have. Doesn't matter who you book with, we work together and all things.
Mm-hmm.
Click the links in our bios, and guess what? We're going to provide you with that book. Okay.
Ta-da. Ta-da. Well, Mercedes, this has been another amazing Money Making Monday. I hope that this has blessed you because it's reminded me, and just it inspired me
Yeah.
to reflect on what I've done so far in the year, to look at my numbers and see where I'm at, and to keep plotting and to keep powering my trajectory to where I want to be and where I'm determined to be. I have some high goals for this year, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to
I
make
love
it.
it. And
Yeah.
I believe you. I
Yeah.
believe you. And first, it starts with you to believe it. So I love it.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
thank
it was
you for
great chatting it
sharing.
up with you. I will see you soon.
Yes.
You have a great day, and tribe, you all go and be great, and we'll do the same.
Bye, guys.